All right, dude. Episode 62 of the One Way Out podcast. I'm joined by Mike. I don't know if you want to say your last name or not, but it's up to you. But I want you to introduce yourself, dude. Like kind of who you are, what your background is.
Yeah, so
maybe how we know each other.
Mike or Mac, my friends mostly call me.
Yeah.
I guess I can go with what's more relevant to part of what we'll be talking about today. I've been, until recently, in and out of political stuff for like 16, 17 years, I think, by the time I finally just stepped away from it. A little bit of Republican stuff in the beginning with the Ron Paul era. And then for the last, 12 to 10 of that was with the Libertarian Party. And, you and I met through a couple of little niche projects, I guess you could say, like part of that. So, now I'm kind of free of that sort of. I keep getting kind of, I still peek back into that world, and I try not to, but it's hard these days.
Yeah. The Libertarian Party has it's been a positive thing in my life, because I got exposed to a lot of like-minded people, but then also watching them kind of go down the road that I'm just like, you guys could be so great and you're just not, or whatever. Like you just choose to not take a stance on things. Like I really feel like it is a party. Like this is the Republican critique. Well, first off, what do you think as being active in Republican politics as well? How do you think the Republicans view the Libertarian Party generally?
Generally, I'd say they don't view the Libertarian Party.
It's true.
To be honest, 95% of them don't know it exists. If they do, they're like, what do you mean you're a liberal party or something? Like they just don't understand it. The ones that do, I would say, it's probably the younger guys that were either coming in or fed up with the Republican Party around the Ron Paul era. Honestly, that's the main reason I left the Republican Party initially, is the sort of Ron Paul insurgency, if you want to call it that movement really got steamrolled and ran out of the party. They got, several meetings I didn't get to go to that I should have been notified of as a precinct committeeman, stuff like that. I mean, it's all small, little, petty crap. The stuff that you and I have talked about is just like, I don't even care, man. We're just, arguing over stuff that doesn't matter at this local level. It's like, I want to get, get some stuff figured out.
Yeah, some big picture stuff. Yeah.
It's like my taxes keep going up and you guys are arguing over shit that doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Be like, do you know the history of the Hawaiian people? Do you know how oppressed they were? I'm like, yeah, that's terrible. I get it. But kind of, hey, the government's being run by demonic pedophiles right now. Can we talk about that? Or maybe we'll come out at least publicly against it. Something like this.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that stuff happens in the Republican Party too.
Sure.
It's just that they're part of the main majority. So there's more competition. Therefore, it's not quite as bad. Like, Libertarian Party it's just the left. It's not just the leftovers, because I think a lot of us in the Mises Caucus believed in what we were doing and we're trying to do the right thing. It's just the LP was not the place to do it. I mean, bottom line, it was just, It was, at the end of the day, there's too much pushback from the theater kids, that just want to play dress up and not actually do anything.
That's a lot of inside baseball kind of, but so the Mises event that you were talking about was around 2020, 2022-ish, something like there, 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
And it would have been it was this essentially the Ron Paul people, so I don't know when you kind of when you left the Republican Party for the Ron Paul revolution type deal, was that 2008 or was that 2012 run for you?
So let's see, I left active duty 2011 and got involved in the 2012 campaign. Yeah. So I think I officially left 13 or 14 finally.
Sure. Yeah. So in 2022, essentially that wing, those people who kind of held to that Ron Paulian kind of thinking, the Austrian economics, the anti-war, the kind of railing against the empire kind of, sentiment that was kind of ground swelling. under Ron Paul's, I don't know if you want to call it ideology or whatever, but that was kind of taken into the Libertarian Party. And then that injected a bunch of new membership and new energy, bunch of new people into the party. And we basically kind of took over, essentially, the entire party. Mostly. Yeah.
I mean, except for a few states.
Sure.
I mean, we had every state party and the national party.
It did not manifest in the presidential candidate. I'm going to be full disclosure on that one. It didn't really, I don't know how you feel about Chase Oliver.
He was the perfect Libertarian Party candidate. It's exactly what they deserved. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You know, we talked a little bit before about me and several other people warning the leadership of the Mises Caucus about the slipping up. And that was a result of that. I mean, they didn't, well, that and partially Dave Smith ended up changing his mind and not actually running. So that was a big part of it, but there was no backup plan. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they tried, what's that doctor's name? Who's that guy? The guy that people were behind but he ate too many edibles or whatever and then ruined his fucking
Rechtenwald, yeah.
Rechtenwald, yeah. Michael Reck, right? Rechtenwald?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I thought was probably going to get it. But then I heard there was some background shenanigans at the national convention and some deals were made. But well, they really fumbled that in a big way. They had so much energy and, you know, they could have done some really cool stuff. But instead they did what they did. And now the Libertarian Party is back to what it was prior to 2022. You know, a social club for theater kids. That's a good way to say it. Like it's just a social club where people can, like you said, put their, I'm the secretary for this, or I'm the vice chair for that. You know, like they don't actually care about, well, they probably do care. I don't know if they care or not. Doesn't seem like it.
I think they care to a degree that you can when you're that delusional.
Sure.
Because they are. I mean, I don't think you had to suffer through as many meetings and stuff like that.
I did not. But the ones I did were brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I tried to minimize the stuff that everybody had to be involved in because the ones that were necessary were going to be that bad. And I think I warned most of you guys pretty well in advance. Like, this is going to suck, man. Like, if you want to start drinking.
Yeah.
You know.
The Discords were fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's, I don't know. It was sad. It was sad to see. But anyway, since then, so since 2022, 2024, I guess, I've kind of, you know, gone a different direction. Maybe you can say I'm an atheist Christian nationalist, but I don't know. I don't know how I want to frame that, but like, it seems like I saw a quote. I think I posted it somewhere, maybe online, Instagram or something, where it was like, tolerance is the virtue of people who stand for nothing or something like that. And that's kind of how I felt about the Libertarian Party is like, they want to be so inclusive, or they don't want to, it's, hey, who am I to tell you how to live? It's like, yeah, but you can still like, you can tell me that you think that's degeneracy or whatever, you know, like you can, me saying, hey, I think it's degeneracy doesn't mean the same thing as like, and I think we should use the state to stop that, you know, like that's not the same thing. But like take stances on things, you know, socially or whatever. I just didn't see a lot of that. It didn't align with me. The Libertarian Party didn't align with me in that way. They just weren't willing to take stances on things in the way that I would like. I don't know how you feel about that. You know,
pretty much the same. I kind of went from being an atheist, anarchist-ish, to now I'm becoming a basically, you know, trad Catholic kind of guy. I just, it was, I mean, when you see overwhelming evidence that people being able to do whatever they want is a terrible idea because they're not responsible. I'm like, okay, this just doesn't work. I mean, it's like one of those things where they say, yeah, you know, communism is good in theory, but it sucks in real life type of thing. It's like, okay. And there was a few of us, the Mises Caucus was part of that a little bit. And Tom Woods and stuff, you know, he's Catholic as well. Like we were, I think as a group, all on the same page of like, we don't think you need to be locked in a cage necessarily for certain things, but we're not advocating that you go shoot up and mainline heroin and stuff like that, you know? So but there was a bunch of people that definitely were advocating that and advocating sex work and degeneracy.
Sure.
I'm like,
they call you a fascist if you just say it's not a good idea. Hey, I don't think that's good. You're like, oh, what are you, a fascist? Like,
sex work is work. Yeah, but it's not something we should be cheering people on to go into. It's not like, we put that on the guidance counselor list of potential careers. That'd be a good idea,
Yeah. Well, culturally, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school, was a altar server, the whole deal. So all that resonates with me. Maybe that's why I've come to land where I've landed. Probably not too far off from you, although I'm still not convinced that, there is a creator of the universe. Maybe you can convince me. I don't know. I'm not like a militant atheist. I'm not one of those people that like, there are no gods and you're a fool for believing that. Like that's not me. And there may be gods. I don't know. I just, I haven't seen the evidence, but I will say it resonates with me when people are willing to take stands on what they believe to be morally correct, or fight against things that are morally reprehensible. Like I'm not pro-abortion. I'm just not. I don't think it is moral. I don't think, and you could say, well, what's your morality based on? And we can go down that rabbit hole, but it doesn't align with my principles. And so I'm willing to say, like, no, I don't like that in my society. I don't want that in my society. Am I willing to, make it outlawed? That one's kind of a weird one because, like, I do believe you are doing harm to somebody in that case. The abortion question. But yeah, I think I've landed in a place where I want more moral, foundational principles to be part of, my political view, which I just don't feel like was being represented by the libertarians. Because they were more of like hey, live and let live. I'm like, in theory, that sounds like a good idea, but there are a lot of people who are doing things that won't necessarily allow you to live and let live, that can come from that degeneracy that you're kind of not standing up against.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that was eventually became one of the problems I had with, big L libertarians, or at least the party in general, is that it takes a morally subjective or morally ambiguous stance where it's like, oh, okay, this is our philosophy. It's like, the state is force and et cetera. And I believe in all that stuff still, even to this day. It's just that they would never say, but you need to have a good, functional society and try to steer you away. Like the official party stuff is they never took any moral stance on anything, basically. I mean, except for the relationship between the state and the citizens. That's like the only thing that there was an absolute moral stance. And even then there's a little bit of a, constitutional libertarian, conservatarian to anarchist spectrum a little bit, but everybody more or less agreed less government at the very least. But there was never, and it's a combination of things. It's a side effect of having kind of, no disrespect to some of the people, but a lot of major party rejects coming, I was one of them. I was rejected from the Republican Party, basically from the mainstream McCain types and Romney types that ran it. And when you do that, you don't really have, you don't have a message. I mean, it's even worse in some cases than kind of the Democrats. Like they pretend and they put on a facade of certain morality. And a lot of them do believe in like that social good, collectivism over the individual. So there's a little bit of it, but when you look at libertarians, even the stuff that and I'm still a libertarian, to a degree that it doesn't conflict with, Catholic social teachings and stuff. I'm not
philosophically.
Philosophically.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not a Catholic yet? Like you haven't been baptized? You haven't been confirmed?
Haven't been baptized or confirmed yet. That'll be this Easter.
Well, then I outrank you.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what are the dude, do the Republicans even have, at least with the libertarians, they can point to the NAP, they can point to private property rights, they can point to those types of things. Like, I don't know what the Republican Party can point to exactly.
someone who is better versed in political science could come up with what the core would have been. And I know, you read some of the older books that were coming out and some of the speeches and everything. They're, and they still technically have a platform, but neither party at this point. I think the Republicans are still at least more, quote unquote, of the party of like, hey, still leave us alone, still. But I mean, sure. In the Trump era, all of that is pretty much out the window. And part of that's because Republicans have realized they've been getting screwed for the last almost 100 years because conservatives by their nature are reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah.
So they haven't really done anything to stop the progressive march for the last 100 years. And now they're just kind of with the internet, I think that people are like, oh, wait, they've been lying to us the whole time. And they've been stealing, conniving, and cheating and doing all these dirty tricks. And that's politics in general. So not a big shock. But B, I think your mainstream conservative until the Trump era, until Trump sort of, I don't think unintentionally exposed the weaknesses of the institutions and how they're being manipulated by, other interests than I would say mainstream America, even mainstream Democrats. I mean, there's a reason why Trump won a second term, that kind of middle of the ground blue collar Democrat. The Democrats completely abandoned, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago.
Sure.
Or more.
Would you agree with the characteristic that like someone like Michael Malice has kind of said about them, where like conservatives are just the Democrats going the speed limit because like the Democrats do something egregious to kind of erode that freedom, and then the Republicans fight to kind of push back, and then they end up compromising in that process, and then they just repeat that over and over again until in like 100 years they're just way down the road toward the Democrat side. And they failed to conserve. I mean, they conserve a little bit and give up a lot, and then doing that over and over again, you've really conserved nothing over time.
100%. And that's because they're by nature, conservatives are reactive. I mean, that's just the nature of their disposition. I didn't have any interest in politics until I got to see how the sausage was made in the military and thought, oh man, little naive me back then. I had no idea that was just the very tip. And it's always been, I say always, but my entire life and, previous decades to that, that's just the way it's been going.
Nothing like waking you up to the government shenanigans than working for these clowns, for sure.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
You're like, wow, we're just gonna, I remember one of the first major thing, and this is just anybody who's been in and around it for a long time, this is nothing. It's meaningless to them. But I remember they were trying to it was a big thing. They were trying to figure out what to spend all this money on that they had left over because the fiscal year was coming up. And we were not that far off from a deployment. And it's like, oh, should we get boots and uniforms and, gear and stuff to get us equipped? Because Air Force was going through a uniform transition too. So we didn't have any, the new cold weather gear, the new rain gear and the new pattern, all this kind of stuff. No, they bought $200 to $300. This is 2009-ish. $200 to $300 office chairs, ergonomic office chairs a piece. And I don't know, 20, 30 of them for the little maintenance room that we go when we do our aircraft forms. Back then you had this stuff called paper that you had to like write on and document all the maintenance tasks for the day. And new conference room tables, all this stuff for this office, which is just a glorified grease monkey pit. It's where all of us maintainers hung out. And then they're like, don't sit on it, don't use it. And it's like, all right, but I don't. Okay. There was nothing wrong with the old ratty stuff that we had before. I mean, we were going to junk it anyway, and you guys spent $300 a piece on these ergonomic office chairs for a bunch of grease monkeys to sit down and get stained. But it was just a complete waste. It's like I understand a little bit more of why it was done that way, because if you spend less money than you were allocated, then they're okay, we don't need that much money next year. So they want to keep their budget. They just find excuses to just blow the money, in like August, September. So that they can say, oh yeah, see, look, we used all of our allotted budget. And it's like, well, we don't have anything to show. We have a bunch of flat screens in the dorms, day rooms that aren't hooked up to anything. You guys just bought them because you're like, crap, we got to lose this money.
Yeah, because now we need a bigger budget next year because we spent all the money on nonsense.
Yeah. And there's just no incentive to there's a little bit of incentive to be competent in your job, but there's not, at least when I was in, there wasn't really any incentive to mentor the young guys. Most of us were getting out after our first hitch anyway. Like I kind of wanted to go career. I still might try to go back to the Guard or Reserves or something. I don't know. It depends how optimistic I end up feeling about stuff. Just because I'm not, I do another 10 or 12, I should still get a retirement at 65 from. So that's, why not get another little something, maybe, if it's dollars worth anything by then.
Sure. It's like you're a catch-22, right? Because you're also aware of the economics of it. So you're like, fuck, man. Like, it's a smart thing to do if things were stable, would be to do that. But also the evidence is showing that this is not exactly a stable operation that we're running here. As far as fiscally, the dollar, them getting away from the petrodollar, them printing shit tons of money. I think Trump's talking about another round of I don't know if it's stimulus or whatever, but economic relief. I don't know, man. It's
another round of screwing our grandkids and stuff, basically. I mean, It's funny, as much as I talk about, and you're probably kind of the same way, I wouldn't be too surprised. Like, I unironically, and to the heart of my soul and core, love this country.
Sure.
But my word is it's just a mess. I mean, because I've been to a few other countries that are supposed to be kind of like near peer allies, and I'm like, man, this place is a shithole.
Yeah.
Like anybody who goes to Europe,
sure,
it's not, it's still good architecture and the history or whatever, but you're like, man, this is just, what the hell? And just simple things that Americans are used to because we're so awesome, like ice cubes and air conditioning. You're like,
sure,
you guys live like this in a modern city in the West? Like,
yeah, I think there's cases of like, you can watch Twitter videos or whatever of like people in England where their windows don't open up all the way, like weird shit. Like when I was in Amsterdam, everything was real fucking narrow, and when you order, say if you order a vodka tonic, they charge you for the vodka and the tonic, and you get charged for water everywhere you go. Like, that's just things like that just we take for granted. That's all.
Yeah, and that's like first world problem stuff. But I mean,
sure,
even philosophically, like I look at this dude that went to Florida on a work trip and got to shoot guns and posted a picture on LinkedIn, and dude got arrested as soon as he landed back in London for making terroristic threats. That's what he was being charged with or whatever. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Well, if my Instagram algorithm ever got leaked, I would definitely not be welcome in England. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's still, despite all the crap that the top level guys are doing, I think there's still a good thick streak of Americanism in this country. I mean, I remember the UK was like threatening, like even if you're a foreigner making fun of us or something on Twitter and saying mean things, like we'll try to extradite you. It's like all the Americans are like, extradite this dick, bitch. Like,
exactly. Come get it. Yeah. Yeah. That is the American spirit is still alive. It's just, I'm not sure if a whole bunch of the other culture's still here. Yeah. Like I do worry, the direction that things are going. It seems there is like this concerted effort in the in both, and just to say the government, like not left or right, both sides, to kind of clamp down on people, communications, expressions, maybe less so on the right, but it exists on the right. Like if I want to go boycott Israel in some states, I might have a problem. Yeah. So it's just both sides. I would never, like, where we're at today in America, I never would have predicted that this is where it would have been 20 years ago. I don't know. Like,
I thought it was going to happen, just not so fast.
Sure. Yeah. The internet, I mean, social media really just put
100%.
Yeah. Poured gasoline on all of that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do about that. I mean, I'm like, are you optimistic? Would you say you're optimistic as far as?
It kind of depends on, what you mean by that. And I know that's a shitty lawyery type of answer,
Sure.
but I mean, like, I'm optimistic that there's going to be some semblance of the Western culture that's going to survive, as it has through the collapse of the Roman Empire, Greeks. You know what I mean? Like, I have a lineage that goes back to the beginning of life on this planet, right? Like I'm here. I made
Sure.
it. And everything had to align. So, and you think all the catechism stuff. So in the long term, I think we're fine as a species, more or less. You know, like plus or minus a few nuclear holocausts or whatever. But but I am in the near term culturally. I see some hope. You know, there's a couple things. You know, I talk and like send memes and stuff since we don't talk to people anymore. But
yeah, exactly.
there's the, which is something I'm slightly, and I'm guilty of it as hell, and I'm trying to like change that a little bit. But you know, we're talking about some comments left on an Instagram post that did give me a little bit of hope. Like people are realizing, man, men have given up too much. Power is not the right word. We gave it too much responsibility that translated into power for the state. You used to, and I'm not advocating for violence per se, but if someone was out of line, like there was a reasonable expectation in public, you were going to get slapped, and you weren't. And if you were really out of line, like 2 or 3, 4 or 5 men that are in the area are going to agree and say, "Hey, you know, don't be doing that in public. Don't be doing this and that." But we swung so far the other direction of you got people defecating on sidewalks in public, shooting needles. I mean, like we're just like you said, we're tolerating way too much. And you know,
and the libertarians are allergic to even talking about that. You know, like they're just like, what, were you going to use force against these people? And it's like, well, I mean, come on. At some point, like if someone's taking a shit on the ground, like in public or whatever, and I'm walking with my daughter, like, look, the non-aggression principle, like, I get it. I understand, but dude, I don't want my daughter exposed to that. And that guy doesn't care. So now we're at a point of impasse where the only option left is force. So if you want to take a shit on the floor in front of my daughter, and I don't want you to take a shit on the floor in front of my daughter, well, you're not going to take a shit on the floor in front of my daughter. You're just not. I mean, I'm going to use force against you. I'm going to. Like, to me, that crosses the line if you're no longer peaceful, in my opinion. That does not apply to all libertarians, but that is how I would think.
Well, and they apply these principles outside the reality that we currently live in, as if you know, sure, in a perfect world, he's on his own property or whatever. Sure. Everything's privatized. It's a little bit different. There's more nuance there to a degree. But that's not, you know, the border doesn't really belong to the people. The sidewalks don't belong to the people. Like we say it does. It doesn't. It's the government, and the government's responsible for. So, you know,
they're not doing it. So
yeah, they're not. Like
what are you doing? Yeah,
anarcho tyranny kind of thing. I mean, it's just.
But can you explain that real quick? Anarcho tyranny.
I heard someone explain it a different way than I understood it, so I won't be okay. I won't pretend to be the expert, but the way I understand it, the way I've heard it spoken about, especially with like malice and stuff, is essentially like you have a massive police state that selectively enforces rules and regulations to benefit themselves and their partner, so that, you know, the average person is still going to get raped and mugged and shit on walking down the street. They're not going to do anything about that. But if you live near a city councilman's house and he doesn't like you selling lemonade without a permit, like they'll, you know, come down on you hard. Like they basically, you know, which is exactly what the founders warned us about. Like we cannot become a nation of men. We got to become a nation of laws, so that the law dictates the outcome, you know, and how we set up our legal system. And that's how it was supposed to be. And it never, you know, the first president started violating the Constitution like immediately. So, I mean, you know, it's a hard thing to live up to, but we're so far away from that now. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, well,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say the anarcho tyranny thing is sort of selective. Like I don't really have that here where I live in the small town. Mm-hmm. But if I go up to New York City, like you're not allowed to defend yourself. If you try to shoot somebody that's trying to rape you or you know, whatever, like you're going to get charged with something, like that guy in the subway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Daniel Penny. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the state deprives you of your ability to defend yourself or protect your property, but then also won't do it for you.
Sure. Yeah. So like the guy shitting on the floor in front of my daughter, whatever, like, I think there is like a distinction between, like, let's say he's legally allowed to do that. I think now what I'd be arguing for is socially, he should not be allowed to do that. Like, like you said, a group of dudes could just get together in that instance and be like, we don't like that. Maybe I'll try to say, hey, don't take a shit right there. And if he's like, fuck you, this is my front lawn or whatever, like, fuck your daughter, I'm like, yeah, but now we're fighting. And I mean, I don't, and I'm not saying this is a legal standard. This is more of like, you're a dude, I'm a dude, and I don't like what you're doing. You don't care. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, I think that it'd be a better world if people just got punched in the face sometimes.
Yeah. And basically that's what we did. So I was kind of one of those dumb idiots, like, you can't legislate morality. It's like,
sure.
Well, that's what I mean, that's the whole point of legislating, is your morality. Because we're so used to, and especially in the modern, safe Western world, even in the shithole of Europe, like, we're so safe and prosperous that, like, we kind of forget, it's legal to rape and kill people in some places. Like, like, that's just perfectly accepted. They're like, yeah, well, you saw her ankle. So, I mean, obviously, like, what else were we going to do?
Yeah, exactly. You had no choice.
Yeah. So, but that's so counter to what our moral, and all based really on the Catholic and Christian faith is where we get a lot of our moral foundations from. And
as an atheist, I would still agree with that. Like, I do.
Yeah. Well, and that's when I was an atheist, Jordan Peterson, I like, probably accidentally, was like, set me on this path. So, like, oh yeah, it makes total sense. And the more I've been studying the Catholic traditions and getting deeper, the more I'm like, man, we got, like, it's just so much better being connected to the roots of where our civilization kind of came from. It just makes more sense, I guess. I think it's better. Obviously, reasonable minds can disagree about, like, the theism part, but the progressives have just chipped and gnawed away at the foundations. Sure, they'll let people keep Christmas for now, but the war on Christmas, that was a little hyperbolic, but you know what? They weren't wrong. They were just a little early, they've just perverted it. And St. Valentine's Day just a few days ago, like, I'm like, oh yeah, these are all saints. I'm just finding this out now as I'm kind of going through catechism and everything. But that's where and that's another thing where I started to get away from the Libertarian Party, where I'm like, all right, actually, you can not only can you legislate your morality, that's essentially what it is. Instead of leaving up to two dudes to duke it out and figure out what the right answer is, collectively we're like, all right, don't shit on the sidewalk. So now that's a law.
Yeah. Well, they'll be like, well, then who are you to say that, like, in Dubai or whatever, that they can't just say morally it's unacceptable for a woman to be walking around outside without a male escort? And I would counter that with, for their society, that might be moral. I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, if that's the society they want to live in, and that's based off their scripture, then it's over there. So I
100%. I don't care. I mean, I care in terms of the morality of it. I'm like, oh, well, that's not right. But I'm not like sending the Navy to bomb them and then give them democracy. And
you're a bad Republican then.
Yeah. And see, that's where I kind of differ on that kind of stuff. But it's the lack of taking a stance on in the LP, a lot of it, at least, because there were a bunch of us that did take moral stances. We're like, hey, I don't think you need to be locked in the cage for choosing to sell your body. I'm not going to advocate for it. I'm going to advocate against it, actually. But what I've come to kind of, I'm slowly drifting more toward maybe Christian nationalism or something, but just a return to, like, hey, all right, we need to have at least a baseline. Because right now this country has a bunch of splits of what, like, you can't have. I've always kind of said to certain people who ask, even when I was an anarchist, like, you can't really have multiculturalism. Yeah. Right. Because, and it depends, right? Maybe a few degrees off, like Brits and Americans. Okay. There's a certain overlap there and you can kind of integrate. Right. But if you have people who are, like, just going back to this immigration issue that we're doing, it's kind of in the zeitgeist now. If you are, and even like me and certain people in the Libertarian Party, if you're fundamentally opposed, if your moral foundation, your moral foundation is fundamentally opposed to another one's, well, that's one of you has to integrate, or it creates conflict, and then you don't have a cohesive society anymore. And
Yeah, they're mutually exclusive, right? Some of these beliefs. Yeah.
That's why we have countries. I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise it would just be, all right, everybody's on the same page. So we don't really need borders. We all speak the same language, we all have the same God. So we don't have that. So we were like, all right, you stay over there. We're not going to stay on that side of the river. And maybe we'll trade some goods because you got good corn growing soil over there, but we got trees. So we'll trade you lumber for your corn. And
communism fails within societies that are homogenous. You know what I mean? Like, because people have different goals, beliefs, desires, whatever. Whether it's the religion, they have differences. People are different. Like, and I think this liberal new what do they call it? New world. God damn it! The liberal economic order, or whatever they call that. This attempt to just flatten people, like just say we're all just people. Like, you could take 10,000 people from Nebraska and 10,000 people from Somalia, and you can just switch them out. They're interchangeable. That's not no.
Well,
that's not,
it's a no, but this is why they get away with it and they've been so successful, because it's kind of a yes. If you take their children and you indoctrinate them, so that next generation will be compatible with whatever they've been indoctrinated to a degree. There's still going to be some lingering. I actually think that there is some residual genetic learned behavior type stuff that goes deeper than just cultural stuff. There's some, I can't remember the name of it. They even ended up making like I hate Reddit, but they made like a subreddit about invisible map lines or something. And it's fascinating to me because you can see where the Soviet bloc used to be by the voting patterns of the Europeans and how they vote across political parties. And it's been, it's like, boom, it's like the districts are exactly split, so they kind of keep that. So technically we're all one species and the same, but like you said, if you're not going to integrate, like if I go to France and I just produce a bunch of kids that speak English and refuse to assimilate to French culture and or convert to Islam while I'm over there, you know what I mean? Like, look at Europe is just such a good example because they're so concentrated now there. They've let in so many different ethnic groups and cultures, but they all share a string. They're all kind of like Islamic, failed state refugees and stuff like that. But they had like 1,200 sexual assaults one night in Germany for New Year's or something. I'm like, dude, that's like, no. I mean, that's not even like, oh, well, we'll see. But no, out immediately. Like, you don't get to do that.
Even on paper, dude, the multicultural thing just doesn't seem, it never made sense to me. Like, let's table the whole conspiracy behind it, about the people who came up with the America's a melting pot and what ethnicity they were from. But let's just say, like, yeah, exactly. I don't want my cell phone to just randomly explode. But the idea that you're going to just take people from all over the world, different languages, different sensibilities, different everything, insert them on top of each other and just expect everyone to just kind of get along, like that has never worked anywhere ever. This is why people went to war. Like, they're just opposing tribes, like different gods, different cultural systems, different, they think their country's the best. We think our country's the best. Like, and then they're just different people. Like, there's in-group preference. People want to be with people that are like them, whether that's racially, ideologically, whatever. Like, people will group together. And so when you transplant all these people into another foreign country, and then you expect them to your culture to just absorb them, maybe that can work on small scales, but it doesn't work when you let 10 million of them in all at once in 3 years. Like, it's not working, and we're watching it not work. And even on paper, that nobody should have thought that would have worked. So where are you at with, what do you do about that? Like, what is Europe going to do about this? What should we do about this?
So Europe, Britain specifically, I can't remember his name. He just launched a new party, Restore Britain Party. And, his whole vow is like, we're going to reverse immigration. So practically speaking, honestly, unless you're going to send them, to make sure that they're getting indoctrinated into the American way.
Yeah.
That's the only other option. It's like, hey, no. You're not integrating. no cooking barbecue rats in the middle of downtown Main Street. Like, we don't do that. Like, this is not, so yeah, from a practical standpoint, it's like, hey, the way I kind of explain it, it's like, hey, I invited someone to my home because they're outside, it's raining, they're getting chased by rabid wolves or something. Yeah, come on, man, come on. We don't speak the same language, but like, here's some food, here's a warm bed, use the shower, you're good. And then he starts shit in my living room. It's like, hey, we don't, no, sorry, here's the toilet. Like, if you're not going to integrate them into the way that you function, that's a micro kind of a cosm idea, but I think it helps people understand more. It's like,
sure,
how it affects and ripples throughout the society, because I mean, I saw, and people think, well, it's racist or whatever. It's not a race thing. Well, for me, I no one cares about it, but race is reference to species, and we're just one species. So physiologically, scientifically, like, I don't think the race, white, black, shades of yellow, green, whatever, but culturally, it is extremely important and it makes a huge difference. I mean, look, I don't know if you've ever seen, and I saw this firsthand myself when I was over there, but watch This Is What Winning Looks Like, if you haven't seen it. It's back when Vice was actually really awesome.
Okay.
Because they sent a guy who was embedded with this Marine battalion over in Afghanistan, and it was just showing, dude, I was so shocked. I was like, the military let this guy just film all this stuff and like get these good interviews. But I was like, finally, people are going to know what it's actually like over there. There was a viral video a long time ago that's so grainy that was showing these Afghan National Army guys trying to do jumping jacks.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos of all time. Yeah.
So I don't know the specific story about that instance, but I can tell you from experience and from other guys I've talked to, like, that is a cultural and structural problem. It wasn't like they were being goofy or whatever. Being in rhythm and unified is like like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't do stuff like that over there. There's no like, all right, we're gonna do PT before we go herd our sheep up the mountain.
Yeah,
they don't understand that kind of hierarchy authority, because it's all tribal over there. Like, we invaded and they thought we were the Russians still. They're like no, they had no idea there was a war going on up in the mountains with the Taliban. They, so it's just, culture is huge. Culture makes I mean, and it kind of is everything. You can't have, like you said, even within families, people don't get along. So you're expecting people with diametrically opposed ideas about the fundamental realities of the universe to get along.
And I try not to go along the racial stuff too, although I do see it along racial lines. I mean, because it is more, in my opinion, I've argued this with different people, but it is the cultural thing. It just seems like culture is somewhat tied to races in some
100%.
Some aspects.
I'm just autistic about it. Like,
I get it.
Like, if America let in and we continue to mix, as they would call it, quotation marks, like, we would start becoming a different shade. Probably we'd kind of tan out a little bit, dilute kind of that European, but it's different regions of the world adapted both physically and culturally. I mean, you can't, that's kind of our shortcut. We just say race, whatever, white race or whatever. But it's like, I'm mixed, but it depends on where I go. Like, if I'm in Florida, they're like, oh, you're Cuban. When I was in North Dakota, they're like, oh, what tribe you're with? I'm like, tribe? Like, yeah, you look Native American. So I'm like ambiguously brown,
Yeah.
And but dude, I see a redneck with a jacked up truck and a Confederate flag playing in the mud and shooting guns, and I'm just like, hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. So, the important part of that is the cultural factor. Like, all right, what kind of fundamental thing? Like, I see a dude out there enjoying freedom, like America, out there in the streets, having fun, like combining everything I like. I like guns, I like trucks, I like machines and gadgets and stuff. But so I understand, like you were saying, it's sort of inseparable-ish. America's a little bit different. It's not that, like, I don't know if you've seen, there's a couple comedians that this guy is like a Korean or something ancestry, but he's got a thick Georgia redneck accent. And I can't remember his name, but I'm just trying to use that as an illustration, an example of, like, we are a melting pot in that, like, you melt into Americanism, or you should, like, you should.
Yeah.
It's just that we're big enough, to let in people from different regions. And that's why America's a little bit different, I think. And we've just taken it too far. And there's also something they don't talk about. Sorry to keep ranting, but
no, go.
The left likes to be like, oh, Ellis Island and whatever. It's like, dude, do you know how many fights like the Irish and Scottish and the English got into with each other, and like how much like mainstream Americans pissed on those immigrants and the Chinese in the West, the building of the railroads? It's not like we just let them in. We're like, hey, welcome, you're American. Like if they couldn't assimilate, like they were treated like second class citizens off the go. But even as they assimilated, it took a while for them to be like, all right, hey, fireworks are hella cool. We're going to use that for 4th of July stuff. Like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
So this progressive idea of like, we were just
open borders. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. It's not factually accurate. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, I think American culture was already in decline and degrading for the last, you could say several decades. But you have that decline happening, and then you throw in a bunch of people that are from other cultures and then expect that to make things better. Well, it turns out it didn't. And it's kind of, I mean, they're uncovering like these giant fraud rings. You've got in like Dearborn, Michigan, for example, and you have them patrolling their own streets, enforcing their own cultural Sharia type laws, I guess, if you want to call it that. That's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable, I guess, thing you got going on there. You got to have a national identity. And I struggle sometimes to kind of figure out what the American national identity is. Like shooting guns, driving trucks, that seems American to me, but how many people do that? Like, is that just a subset? Or,
well, it's also like, what does that mean? Like, that's kind of like a symptom of what, I mean, like as far as culture goes, or what, because it's like, well, why is that good? Why do people like that? What does that represent? What value is that kind of portraying in a physical manifestation? Freedom,
I guess, at the heart of it,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, and it's sort of a mix of natural law and self-determination is sort of what this whole thing was about. And I think for a long time, though, America has been split into a few different, because there's sort of a nuanced difference between a nation and a state, which is why you get nation state, because it refers to a particular kind of state.
Sure.
For example, I don't know if you're familiar with the Kurds, Kurdistan.
Yeah.
So Kurdistan's not technically a state. It's a region over there where the Kurdish people have pretty much held dominion for who knows how long, thousands of years. And they're badass. They defend that area, and they've kind of kept out, some of the crap from the Islamic extremism, and they've helped us, and we've screwed them over so many times by abandoning them.
I remember what about the Kurds? I remember that. What about the Kurds?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was kind of once, with the internet, people did start realizing, hey, we're screwing over a lot of our allies.
Sure. They say, I forget the saying. It's like, it's dangerous to be an enemy of America, but it's fatal to be an ally.
Yeah. Unless you have nuclear weapons.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're an ally with nukes, we're kind of like, all right.
Sure. Or alleged nukes,
Or alleged.
One of our greatest allies doesn't formally have nukes, but has nukes.
Yeah, their official policy. I can't remember who said it, but they said something along the lines of their official policy is, we don't have any nuclear weapons. We don't know what you're talking about, but if you threaten us, we're going to use them.
We will use them.
Yeah, it's like
okay, bud. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that all that is. I think we're in agreement on that. And that's another point that I diverge from your general libertarian. Because what do they call them, bordertarians or whatever? Like,
yeah.
But the party in general is not. They don't correctly identify the problems when it comes to the problem with not maintaining your borders. It's all arguing like, well, who should have control of the border? It's like, well, let's talk about the problems that are coming from that like if you have a porous border, just allowing people to come across, instead of arguing, because that's what's actually happening, versus like, well, why should the government be in charge of it? Or is the government in charge of it? Let's stop arguing about that. And let's start talking about what's actually happening with like the last, let's say 4 years under the last administration of just allowing, you know, tens of millions of people, refugees or otherwise, into your country, and what that has, like good or bad. Can we at least talk about demographic changes? Like, can we have that discussion? Like, because that seems like it's relevant, you know?
Yeah.
Because the demographics are your country. So if you're going to change your demographics, you're changing your country. So good or bad, we should have a conversation about that, you know? But they just want to say you're racist, you know, instead of talking about
really, you know, matter who's driving the boat if it's sinking. I mean, you know,
yeah.
Priority
that first.
Yeah, it's like, you know, right now it doesn't really matter private public borders at this moment. Like, that's not the argument or discussion that should be had. It should be, hey, how should we let, you know, it's kind of an order of precedence. Should we let people in? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. How many and from where and for what reasons? All right. Then you figure that out. But it's like the you know, I could talk to you for probably like 10 hours about all this shit. But
yeah,
my thoughts run toward like the erosion of men in this society. We did it to ourselves, but you know, it's there is the responsibility side of everything has been just deteriorated down to, well, I don't know. That's not my problem. The guy's shitting on the sidewalk. That's the cop's problem.
It's like a diffusion of responsibility, right? Like you've outsourced everything, including your masculinity, to the fucking state.
Yeah. And they're telling you, no, you have to be a beta cuck, you know, like, you know, just bitch. And that, like, it's just, you know, not that I'm a tier 1 operator or anything, but I just look around and see, like, people just are doing the most heinous crap and no one says anything about it. And sometimes no one even calls the cops because they kind of know, they're not going to do anything, or I don't want to get them in trouble, whatever. And it's like, you know, I've got people with this ICE stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why? You know, I understand in Minneapolis as an example, they don't have any local help, but some of those guys I look at, I'm like, man, they're not. I won't say that they're necessarily office guys, but you look at some of them, you're like, dude, your vest is looking a little little snug there, and you're out in the street wielding guns, and like they're like doing the plumber butt pants lift because there's you know, and I'm like, so the feds are strained, I think, trying to round up as many of the bad actors as possible, and then you've got these progressive agitator assholes out there who are kind of, honestly, some of these guys, I think I saw some of the clips in LA that looked a little bit more probably what should be happening, where you kind of had, I don't know if they call them HRT for ICE or not, but it's essentially like their SWAT, crowd control guys are actually trained.
Yeah, we had Border Patrol out there, so you had BORTAC, you had some legit, like, these are tier 1 guys. I mean, and there you didn't really have, because you kind of see, like, all right, here's the dudes, right, and then behind them, like, is the ICE sort of, all right, they can come put handcuffs on you, they can shoot, they can qual every year, but they're not, you know, but they're not like geared to be like, oh, this entire town, this whole village is turned on us. Yeah.
How do we, because I'm watching, I'm not a tier 1 guy. I'm a nerd and I study stuff. I'm like, dude, they didn't set a perimeter. They don't have fucking, dude, they got crossfire like a mother, like all this stuff. I'm like, these are like, even as some little bitch mechanic in the Air Force, like I know enough. I'm like, dude, you guys are fucking up hard. This is going to lead to disaster.
And it did.
And it did.
Yeah.
Because I think even your beat cops probably have a little more crowd control experience than those guys who are essentially just kind of administrative. All right, time to go back to your country now. Like, we're going to arrest you and stuff, but they're not like, they did not appear to me to have a lot of ground experience outside, you know, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that's actually correct. Yeah. I mean, like, that is a symptom, I think, of what you were saying, this cucking of the American man. There's been a war on masculinity, and when you go down the Catholic, I mean, you are going down the Catholic road there. So there is a hierarchy in Catholicism that exists in Orthodoxy and less so in the Protestants. But like God, the man, the woman, then the children. There's a clear hierarchy, and each one of those has responsibility, right? God has responsibility over everybody. He's responsible for all things. But the man You're supposed to be the head of your household, the leader of the family. And to be a leader, if you've been in law enforcement, military, whatever, like there are attributes and qualities that you should have as a leader, right? You need to be competent, strong, have decision-making skills, be able to take a moral compass. You have to be able to take responsibility when things go wrong or good. You take the responsibility falls on you, and not on your subordinates below you. You know, so I think you are right to put a lot of this blame on what we're seeing on the men, because I still have that worldview. I still have a very traditional, hierarchical Christian worldview where, you know, other than a God that oversees everything, men are the ones who are responsible for their societies. So society has fallen apart the way it's fallen apart. I put that blame squarely on each and every single dude with an XY chromosome, because I know there are some that have XX now, but you know, you know, men aren't men anymore, and I don't think that's by accident. Personally, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I look at all the government psyops operations that they've ran over the years, as far as like, you know, convincing you that it's oppressive to, you know, care about what women do. It's oppressive for you to punish your children corporally, like, you know, like bully. We got rid of bullying. We have to protect everyone. These are like kind of things that need to exist in a masculine role. You know, you have to have, if you have responsibility, that necessarily means you have to have some sort of control, right? So if I'm the head of my household, I have to have some control over my wife. And people are so allergic to that. Christian, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Everyone is allergic to me just saying that because it sounds misogynistic. But listen to what I'm actually saying. I'm saying that I believe my role is to be responsible for the people I care about, my family, my community, all those things. If I'm responsible, that means I have a level of control in those things, right? That's all it means. It doesn't mean I have to tell them what to do in every facet of their life. It just means that if I'm going to take responsibility for something, then if this is my cell phone, right? Like, what makes it mine? It means that you can't just pick it up and walk away with it. You know, I have to have some sort of control to it because I'm responsible for it. That's what makes it mine. So if this is my community and someone's shitting on the ground in plain view, just shitting all over it, I feel like people have given up their responsibility, right? They've stopped fulfilling their masculine role to take responsibility, meaning control of their societies. And I don't think that's by accident. I think that was maybe I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist for saying this, but I think the government, the state, would prefer if men abdicated that rule, and trade, you know, instead of God, man, woman, child, it's God, state, man, child, you know, as much as possible.
Yeah. And they've been, you know, working on getting rid of the God part for a long time too. I mean,
I think they were successful personally.
Yeah. You know, as a victim of, you know, a slight victim, but a participant in my own, you know, degeneracy.
Sure.
I would agree. You know, I think men are completely responsible. You can't, you know, the point is we gave up collective. I'm picking the royal we. Men said, all right, yeah. And I think it is a bit of a conspiracy, but I also think it's a perfect storm of being such a successful society. We no longer have to fight offline. So people kind of look around at men like, well, who cares? Like, we don't, you know, why do you need to be in charge of certain things, or why can't I go to work and why can't I do this? And it's funny too, seeing a lot of women being like, I see a meme, it comes up every now and then, it's hilarious, or a reel, I guess. But it's a woman, it's usually like a mid-20s, you know, maybe approaching 30s woman, you know, young, attractive, and she does a skit where she's like, hey, and it's like, oh, she sees our ancestor from like the 1600s, like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting ready for work. We can work now. And she just like death stares at her because she has to go into the office. And I talked about this one person, I can't remember who recently though, and I was like, you know, actually, I think we had a quasi matriarchy before, and I think someone tricked the general public into thinking about what we were doing in a different way, because owning property sucks. Voting sucks. Keeping up with politics sucks. Having to be, because if you don't own property, you can't be sued. Like, you're not the one that's going to court trying to defend the bank account or your literal house. But that's the burden. That's what we are tasked has been to carry on. It's our kind of cross to bear, our responsibility. We have dominion over that, and that's something that women, I think, are finding out the hard way. That's like, no, this is having the workplace and trying to, and we diluted the labor pool so that now you have to have two people working because one income is not really enough for most people.
Sure. Yeah.
But I was just thinking about it. I was like, all the things we used to do that's considered misogynistic now, to me, is oriented toward the benefit of the woman. I'm opening the door for you.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a certain position in the car that's the safest. It's not because, I'm the man is driving because they're responsible for your safety in the vehicle and you're sitting in a certain place. We walk on the outside in the sidewalks. And I can't remember if I sent it to you, but I sent a few people like around New Year's. I'm like, 2026, I am going to be toxic.
Toxically masculine.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Like, if you're gonna be mad at me for opening the door because I've had women bitch at me for like, I can do it myself. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I'm done with that now, and it's funny because it's like this.
You'll be happier.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was kind of raised that way, even outside of any like religious teaching or anything. It's like that's just kind of how the household was. It's like if there's a knock at the door at 2 a.m., I'm the one that's getting up to check it out. It's not, and I think that we need to permeate that better back through the society.
I think the younger generations are getting back toward that. They're trying.
Gen Z kind of scares me.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit.
They're so based. I'm like, hey, whoa. I've told people about this before. I'm like, the correction is going to come, and we are not going to like that because it's going to be so far to the right.
Sure,
so far.
You're seeing it. Yeah.
You're just going to see the Inquisition. And dude, Gen Z is ruthless. I applaud that, to be honest. But I'm also like, I'm going to have to. Even I'm going to still butch up some more because, geez, these.
Yeah.
But
it's true. Yeah.
The feminization of all the different areas has forced men to just get to the point where they're compliant or they just recede back to the incel thing. Like, I'm a sports guy. I have not watched the NFL in like 3 years. That's not because I don't care about Colin Kaepernick or any of that stuff. It's like it's become collectively, they've changed the rules to protect head injuries. It's like, this is this is a fucking borderline combat sport, man. You're crashing into big dudes, I think the NFL should take care of you guys. Like they're out there. If you got the money, great. Medical benefits for life. Like I have no problem with that. I don't care if they have to raise ticket prices or TV subscriptions or whatever. That's reasonable. But then if you just water down the sport, we can't kick off because what if somebody gets hurt? It's like, then why are you playing the sport? Why are you getting into the ring if you don't want people to get punched in the face?
Sure.
UFC, they did that too.
The level of feminization has been so insidious because like you don't even know how much you've been feminized until you start engaging in these kinds of conversations where you're just like, oh man, I mean, that doesn't sound good. Like that doesn't sound, I mean, like I have like, when I hear the Gen Z guys talk and I'm like, you know what, objectively they're correct, but there's still something inside me that's like, ooh, like that doesn't seem appropriate to say, but it's, even if it's true, why wouldn't you say it? Like why would, so like,
well, that's because sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say that mob, we let the mob start dictating how, firing CEOs because they said a dirty joke at the golf course and shit. We should have, I like I said, I don't advocate for violence. I would never promote violence, but I can kind of condone it. It's like, if you're gonna like, no, that guy, if the company wants to make that decision, fine. But it's like the algorithms have made it worse by rewarding, outrage, BS, whatever. Like,
sure,
and that's why I think these mentally ill people can get on there and say they're just making up things to be aggrieved about. It's like you're transmitting on a brick made of silver and silicon and ions that's transmitting across the entire world, grieving about how hard your life is because whatever. Yeah,
it's too easy to get food. It's way too easy to get food.
Yeah,
people invent problems.
Yeah, we have to have dragons to slay, and we don't have anymore. We're creating them.
I can think of a few that are actually real.
Well, for sure, yeah. But I mean, like, your day-to-day person, like they're getting up, they're going to Starbucks, like they don't have to fight a cougar to get to Starbucks or anything. There's no challenge. And then we feminize our sports and our other activities so much. You can't get challenged there either.
Okay, so having going down this rabbit hole, how do you feel? Now, this is where I'm going to test the degree to which you've been feminized there, Mac. How do you feel about the fallout from the 19th Amendment?
It's been a disaster, dude. It's been a disaster. Honestly, if it was up to me, so we want to talk about like corrections and remedies for some of the problems, right?
Sure.
I unironically think get rid of the 19th, go back to 21 and up, landowners, not white necessarily, but you know, you got to be a citizen. You got to have skin in the game. You got to have
stakeholders.
Stakeholders. Yeah. Shoulder some responsibility. Now we can argue about the nuance of what specific criteria we have, but I still think that it's just been.
I'm going to tell you right now, the LP is not going to agree with you.
Yeah, I don't care. Fuck them. Dude, they can't navigate their way out of their own wet paper bag that they've created. Like, that was the most frustrating thing about being just like, wow, I'm going backwards, to be honest. Like, as far as being productive, doing all this stuff. Like, I could be at least mentoring some kids, the Boys and Girls Club or something, you know, doing something kind of productive for the community. Nobody knows the LP exists, and everybody's arguing over some shit that doesn't matter. You know?
As they shouldn't. Like I said, they're the party of obscurity once again. But so the fallout from the 19th, you know, like because I think this feminization, which I think has led to a lot of these problems, is a direct result of the feminine side of our society going into the workforces, into the HR departments, into, you know, peer workspaces, and that just caused a lot of things, because like anyone who's worked in a co-ed space, you know, when it's all dudes, you act a certain way. When it's mixed, you act a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, it's a consequence of there are differences between the genders. And I still meet conservative people who are pretty reluctant to admit that kind of stuff. I mean, they'll say it's popular to be like, oh yeah, men shouldn't be in women's sports and all that. Yeah, I agree. Sure. But let's talk about sensibilities of women telling, like empathizing everything. Like sometimes, like bullying, for example, is one where, you know, I think there should be some degree of bullying that should exist. I mean, it is a way that young people sort hierarchies. And I think hierarchies are very important, where I think the feminine imperative is to flatline hierarchies, even though they participate in hierarchies. And that's the way they participate, is by flatlining, because they can't compete with, you know, whatever it is, men or younger women or whatever they're competing against. They'll try to flatline everything. But men kind of are much more geared toward finding where they're at in the hierarchy through bullying, through competency, through however they sort themselves out. But they're comfortable once they get in the hierarchy of operating within their space. And I think that women are not. So they try to tear down the hierarchies, and try to equalize, which is never going to work. It just won't work. You know, you could have two identical people that just popped into existence at one time, and the second they start making different choices, the hierarchy has now been established. You know, because someone's going to choose to go left, which was better, and someone chose to go right, which is worse, and now they're in different positions. Repealing the 19th kind of would go a long way to solving a lot of these problems, because I think a lot of the problems we do have come from this feminine, like empathetical view. You know, like if you're a woman and you want what's best for everybody, it now makes sense in your mind to be like, well, if they're in war-torn Syria, of course they should come here. You know, like we can help them out and take care of them, and no thought to the shit that will bring, you know, the problems that will create. It's all they see is empathy. You know,
I see that time, dude. Like,
suicidal empathy.
Yeah, I think Jordan Peterson called it like the archetype of the devouring mother, where it's like they're destruct, like their acts of love and whatever is like actually destructive to the fabric, because it's, you know, my ex-wife did this. She harped on me for like 6 months to get a dog. We lived in a little 2-bedroom apartment. We were barely making any money at our jobs, and the whole plan was like go to school, kind of leapfrog each other, get some better certifications, education, and get some more money. Then maybe we'll get a house with room for a dog, and you know, because we're gone at work all the time too. So of course I'm the man. Like when and how feminized I was.
Sure.
When do we have time for this dog? And all these rational arguments. I finally just broke down. We got a dog, and of course, like, I love that dog. I missed it. I had him for 10 years, and he was awesome. But it's like we didn't need that. Like, it was an extra burden financially. She just stopped taking care of it. I'd come back home from work and shit all over the apartment and everything. She wouldn't walk it in the morning. She got bored with it. Basically, it's like this new toy. That's all. I'm done with you. It's like,
yeah.
And that's kind of the problem, because you take that and extrapolate it out millions of times over different scenarios and decisions. That's exactly what men have done. We basically said, fine, yeah, come to the football game. I don't care. I don't want to just get wasted with my bros and high five and have fun. Like, we'll talk about the patterns and Taylor Swift and all this. Like, dude, even the media around football has gotten so bad. I'm like, I just don't like it anymore. It's not the sport that I grew up watching. I watched the old intro to Monday Night Football with Hank Williams Jr. The intro. Like, I don't know if you ever watching that, dude. It's so good. It's so,
I like Hank Williams Jr. Yeah. A lot.
Dude, he did the intro for like years, like decades, up until like the early 2000s. He was the theme song guy for Monday Night Football. Dude, Monday Night Football was an event. It was like, yeah, we're gearing up. They would like hype it up. They do all this practical stuff. And now it's like, la-di-la-di-da, football game. Like, I don't know. It's just, I can't articulate, I guess, how angry and upset and what we've lost. Like, that's why I'm being weird right now. But it's like, I don't even remember when it happened. I just remember like 1 or 2 days being like, holy shit, everything's fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
And like,
it's a slow creep. It's a slow creep, man. It didn't happen overnight, man. It was one little concession after another, like, happy wife, happy life. I mean, it just, like, or sure, like, we'll do these incentives to hire more women into this organization. And then this is the same thing we're talking about with the country. If you replace, like, to say it was all men at one point, and it's one way, and then now it's 20% women and 80% men, that's going to change it. And now if it's 50-50, that changes it even more. And let's say like colleges, 60% of college grads now are females. That's going to change. That's going to feminize everything. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm not saying this is not a misogynistic claim or whatever. This is a factual statement of observation. Like, feminizing things is leading to these effects. If you don't like the effects, that's subjective, but objectively, it is feminizing these things, bringing women into these spaces. And, if that's good or bad, we can make that a determination later, but let's talk about what's actually happening.
Right. Yeah. And like, everybody's like, well, women need all this stuff. It's like, okay, fine. They can have their own Star Wars. They can have their own whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't care. That's perfectly fine. But what they do is dude. And here's the thing, what I've learned, all the stuff that happened when we were kids, all the different dynamics, it's the same thing as adults. I don't know if you had it, but I remember like there was kind of a reason we had no girls allowed in certain spaces as kids, because they would come in and they would want to do stupid shit we didn't want to do as guys. Like, no, this is guy time. We're playing war. We're not playing Barbie house. Because as soon as you let them in, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to redecorate. They want to play Barbie. They don't want to play G.I. Joe now. So
yeah, the fucking Boy Scouts, dude. Remember? Like, when they had to change it, it's not the Boy Scouts anymore. It's called the Scouts. Yeah. Like, they already had the Girl Scouts. What the fuck, man? Like,
yeah, well, they I think they tried to do that because they got sued to oblivion from all the Epstein-esque activities were going on. So they're like, all right, we're just going to let everybody in because we don't have enough Boy Scouts that are interested in this anymore.
Sure.
Well, that's the thing. So there's like a niche of a rite of passage the American male used to have. We just don't have this stuff anymore. We're all screen zombies and not everybody. I'm sure you're not exactly that way with your kids. I'm sure you do a lot better than some of these other people that I see where it's like, it's like, and I didn't really have this. I played football just by accident. So that was kind of my like intro to like, all right, you got to suck it up, buttercup. And you got to, kind of be a little bit of a man. Yeah. And military, there was still a little bit of hazing, even though it's the Air Force, all the Marine guys are going to laugh and everything. Like I'm the flight attendant of my friend group. So like they don't consider my service valid, which is fine. That's totally fair. It's like, all right. Yeah. It was just a grease monkey,
when they're calling in for the air support, they're going to be really sad that you're not there.
Yeah. Like, you see the bombs on that A-10? Like, where do you think
how do you think I got there? Yeah.
But I mean, even us, we still had a tussles with the between the load crews and the different hierarchies. So even though there's rank, obviously, like rock paper rank is like the fun game the NCOs like to play.
Sure.
It's like, all right, now go mop. Like, all right, fuck, all right, I'll go sweep the sand out there in the smoke pit. Like,
yeah,
but
go mop up the rain. Boot.
Yeah, I had to sweep snow and gravel. I swept gravel. That was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, very good skill building.
Yeah, but just, I mean, as insidious as it is, man, it is kind of funny to talk about. But like, as insidious as it is, like that really has led to some serious societal destabilizations. Just this feminization of everything. And if I'm the state, I would prefer that. I would promote that, which I think they do, because it's just much easier to control a population that is a feminine one. Like if they're like, hey, you got to go in that room and you got to take control of that room. Would I rather do it with 10 females in there or 10 dudes in there? I'd rather choose 10 females to try to control that room. It's just going to be way easier. Like, cause if for some reason I can't emotionally control them, I can probably physically control them. But with dudes, it's harder.
Women are just vicious. So you get more than one woman in a room, dude. They're already plotting and scheming.
Sure, they're turning on each other.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. That's like, I love women and I love seeing them in their full feminine forms. Where it's like it sounds kind of gay and weird to say, but like, dude, like a really good mother.
Oh yeah,
it's just like, damn, hell yeah.
You've seen the natural order of things,
right? Well, and you know that kid, like, when I was a cable guy, I got to be in so many different people's homes. It's weird being a cable guy. Like, people, like, I maybe it's because I'm paranoid, but people just let you in. They don't want to deal with you. So, like, you just go wherever. Like, I didn't do anything crazy, but you get full access to people's homes. And it's just a weird career because you're putting cable up, but like, they're still having conversations. They're still eating dinner or breakfast or whatever it is. So, like, you're getting a window into these strangers' houses.
Sure.
So I went to every socioeconomic and race you can think of for a couple of years when I was there. And dude, some of the houses, you're like, man, these people are like, these kids are going to be good people. Like, you just go to a household where, I grew up in a broken home, broken society, fucking mixed race, abomination, like all this weird stuff, like as a kid. And the TV stuff where you see like what's portrayed as a normal family, to me, I'm like, that's funny. That's hilarious that they make like the people are like hugging each other, like the mom's like hugging the kid. That's so weird. Yeah. And then you realize, oh wait, that's
that actually is normal. And
that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was just cool to go to these people's homes and see like, oh man, that's just awesome. Like, the kids talk to you respectfully and like they hang out and they want to like show you toys or something. It's just like seeing like a really functional household. And the reason especially it's so awesome is because like that was like 1, 2 or 3 times maybe the entire time, like that's such a rare thing to see because most of the households I went to are fucking disasters like mine was. Like not just like physically messy, because that's kind of a manifestation of their disordered lives, but like they're yelling at each other, kids are screaming. I mean, kids are going to be kids, but I mean, like you can just tell that there's no order. Yeah. There's no pillars in the household. Like,
yeah. And if the state cared, they would try to fix that problem. Not that they can fix the problem, but they would at least be interested in it. Cause I mean, they look at the 1.6 birth rate and I don't know if they care. I don't know. I've seen no indication that they care.
They don't care because polling says it doesn't really like, politicians get elected through fear.
Sure.
And so if there's no problems, why am I going to elect a new guy? Or why do I need you at all? Right. So they're incentivized through the nature of how we select our leadership to be constantly coming up with some kind of problem that needs to be solved. Usually it's a problem that can't be solved or a problem that isn't really a problem, Like which bathroom are we going to use? What, dude, that's been settled. Like, why are you bringing up old shit?
Yeah,
it's a dude goes in the dude place. Like we didn't separate it just because of the gender. It's because dudes are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And we have power and can overpower a woman in a bathroom. Sure. Like regardless of how much estrogen we're taking, our bones are way denser, man. Like,
no, you're not allowed to say that though. They're all the same.
Oh, I know. That's the thing. I remember like I read this Reddit post. Again, I hate Reddit, but sometimes there's nuggets of things. And there was this woman realizing she's fit, she lifts, she does stuff. They're rock climbing together with her and her boyfriend, and she was play fighting. and he was kind of play fighting. She was getting mad because like, you're holding back. He's like, all right. And he just picks her up with like one hand, like flips her around and just like manhandling her. And she's like, wow, I until that moment, I had not fully realized the differences between, because I thought I was pretty on par because I work out too. We're always in the gym together. I'm like, yeah, it's different, man. I'm a fat piece of crap. Like, I haven't been in the gym. I'm going back now because I'm taking this, kind of Catholic and masculine thing seriously. I need to be prepared to like not be a fat piece of shit. Like, oh, look at those ice ages. They can't even do anything. It's like I'm like that meme sitting back with the potato chips, like aesthetic. So I'm taking that seriously now. But even in my current state, even if you took a woman who's close to my like 6 foot, like a 5'11" woman, dude, I'm not scared of her.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's not even close. Yeah,
like if she could outrun me for sure. I'd get gas and like my endurance is nothing. Like, but if she was trying to fight me, it's like, all right, well,
yeah,
my bones are denser. Like, I've got a better mechanical advantage with my arms and my upper body strength. Even though I don't work out or do anything, I just physically.
I would, dude. I was a martial arts instructor for a long time, and I would constantly have to kind of like, I would never sugarcoat it for the girls. I'm like, listen, you can get your black belt and you'll be dangerous, but a 15-year-old boy will fucking manhandle you if you get in a brute force altercation, and you better hope that you can pull this technique off, because the disparity, I mean, there's a reason why there's weight classes, right, in the UFC. I mean, like, because if you just we did that experiment in the early days of the UFC. You can watch videos right now of like champion level MMA fighters like fighting 360-pound gorillas, and it's not, I mean, there is a point to where the disparity of strength is like your skill only goes so far. I mean, there's like, I always said, if you're both equal and someone is skilled and someone's not, of course the skilled guy's going to win. But there is like a point to where, you can have a 360-pound dude and then I'm a Gracie black belt. And if there's going to be a point where he's going to be able to power out of everything. It's just going to be able to just lift me up and just slam me on the floor from dead hang, and that's kind of the disparity between men and women generally. And it's just the reality of it, and people don't like that, but hey, I don't feel any kind of way about it. It's just the way it is.
Well, that's the thing. It's like going back to your analogy with the Libertarian Party about the borders. It's like, hey, if we fucking just pretend like reality doesn't exist, the problem isn't going to go away. Sure. It's going to get worse. In fact, we've borne that out already. We
just have to pretend harder.
Yeah. It's like, I remember there was a fire down here years ago in southern Arizona. And, the firefighters got praised as heroes later on, and they should be. I mean, the firefighters did a great job, but it started in Mexico. And then there's a national monument and there's state land, there's things. So what they did is they argued about whose jurisdiction the fucking fire is in. And then by the time they kind of figured out, it's like, oh, it engulfs half the fucking mountain and it's heading toward the town now. Yeah. And I'm like, some family members kind of said like those people, the people that are in charge, not the firefighters, but the head honchos, chiefs or whatever, should have been hung and dragged to the street. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, fine. Sue each other for the bill later. Like, dude, there's a fight. Your primary job. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with certain types of law enforcement.
Sure.
Same. One of the things that they always say is like, well, he deserves to make it home. He signed up to die for the defense of the societal good. Now, not in the same way the military does. Like, when I was just a grease monkey, right? So, you could say, well, it's easy for you to say that. But I literally, as I signed up, was like, all right, there's a really good chance, there's an IED on my convoy, or they just do mortar attacks, right? Like, I'm like, okay, I literally could die. Like, I'm signing up for my position to like, and actually I'm going through training that's like, once I got to my, it really drove it home when we got to our tech school, because they're like, no. If the airbase is getting bombed and overrun on the ground, your priority is to get the pilots and the jets out of here. Like, we don't care about you. That's essentially what they said. Like, and we're not going to arm you either, because you have to load the bombs and you have to load the stuff on the jets. So that's like a maintainer's basically like, it doesn't matter if hellfire is raining down. Then we go through our exercises kind of like that. They've got all the stuff going off, and then they'll come up like, oh, you just got hit with RPG. Like, it's simulated, but like that's what we're literally being trained to do. It's like, no, you're the sacrificial, you're the dog in the house. Like, you're like, your job is to kind of be a little bit of a barrier before we can get the air assets out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of cops either couldn't make it into the military, or they were in the military and they didn't get to do cool stuff, and they're a little bit too trigger happy and too and part of that's training. Like I have a cop friend, he's like, yeah, I do like maybe 10 hours at the range a year. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Oh yeah, that's a lot too.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, I train more than most guys. I'm like, dude, your job is to potentially kill an attack. Like, what?
Yeah,
10 hours, man. So just enough to claw, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like that. And I think you're right. When they sign up, when law enforcement signs up, like, yeah, sure, everyone kind of knows you could die, but nobody expects it. Nobody expects.
Right.
So like the Uvalde guys, like those cops that sat outside, like, I mean, bro, so I don't know if you're familiar with Castletown versus what's the lady's name? It was like Castletown versus whatever. It's the legal framework that basically codifies in law that police officers do not have a duty to protect your life.
Yeah.
Some of the police cars, I think in that town specifically, they had to remove that to protect and serve or whatever from their cars. But yeah, there's a thing, like, cops do not have a duty to risk their life to save you. I mean, people think they do, but they don't. The ones that do are good cops, but not all of them. As we saw in Uvalde, they will sit outside for an hour while kids are getting fucking executed.
Yeah. And even in that, I to quote unquote defend the cops on the ground, that is a two-pronged problem, I think, in my mind. That's an administrative bullshit problem, because I think in that case, you had local sheriff, you had, I think, a local town PD, you had border patrol, I think, responded.
Yeah.
So it's just like this fucking fire, they were all, because this is how my experience, I did a little bit of law enforcement with Arizona Rangers, where I volunteered and worked with SVPD and just did got a little bit of a peek on how they train and everything, but I didn't do anything cool.
Yeah.
But you know what they train, like the number one thing they fucking keep hammering home, it's like, oh, you got to be safe out there, got to do this, that. It's like, bro, I'm wearing body armor and have a gun. Yeah, okay. Don't start World War III. I get that, but like, my job, there's a reason I'm getting paid, or in this case, I was volunteering. It's like, if something happens, I put myself between myself and the general public. Otherwise, what's the point of having cops?
Sure. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And so they drill that, and they drill administrative bullshit where it's like they drill jurisdiction, they drill like all this other stuff. And so I think that's why, I still think they made a bad decision in Uvalde, whoever was there. But I don't think, let's say a sergeant was there. So, because I don't know the details, let's say someone kind of higher up.
Sure.
They didn't want to make a call because it's like, oh, well, there's too many agencies here. Whose jurisdiction? Like,
we
don't have the SWAT team. Like, I don't have clearance for this.
And ultimately, what happened was an off-duty BORTAC guy just was like, why the fuck aren't you guys going in there? And then just went straight in. Like, got there.
I watched surveillance video, and I had to hold back tears because I'm like, you son of a bitch. Yeah. Like, you're right there. What are you doing?
I would have shot myself, dude, if I was one of those cops, man.
Yeah. That's the honorable thing to do, to be honest. Like,
I think there's an argument there for sure. Like, I mean, it's against Catholicism, but still, that's
for sure.
It's hard to live with.
Like, you failed, man. You, as a man, you failed. But see, then it's like, all right, let's work our way back. We feminized police forces. We feminized every aspect of our society.
100%.
Oh, you can't go. That's little line. If someone rapes somebody and they cross this line, it's not your jurisdiction anymore. And so,
what does policy say?
Yeah, exactly. What's the policy say? It's like, hey, we have lawyers. That's their job. If I get in trouble, and you also see it the other way though. Like, all right, they just executed
Freddie
Whitaker.
Yeah,
Ryan Whitaker, I think was that guy.
Whitaker,
Oh man, you want to talk about training?
Yeah,
even and I'm Monday morning quarterbacking, obviously, but the dude secured his weapon, didn't tell anybody, and ran away. I'm like, what the fuck? I watched it like a couple times. I'm like, wait, did he just grab his pistol?
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, that whole thing. But no, Ryan Whitaker in Phoenix.
Yep, that's the guy crawling. Why he's crying?
No, that was Shaver.
Daniel Shaver. That's Daniel Shaver.
Ryan Whitaker's a little less known, but he was playing video games with his girlfriend, getting loud, like whatever, in an apartment, and his neighbor, I guess, hates the guy or whatever.
Oh shit, his sister. I know his sister. She hit me up when that happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I do remember this. I remember he had a gun in his hand when he answered the door.
Yeah, walked out like a man because he had people banging. And cops, I understand both sides of it, because you're in the lot. If you're just standing there in front of the door, you get lit up. I
it's
get
fatal funnel. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So I understand why they're like knock knock. But come on, you can't, especially in Arizona, dude. We're like, especially down here, like we're all armed, man. If someone strange knocks on my door, I'm not just answering. And I got cameras right now. Yeah, like I got cameras now, so I don't even go to my door.
Yeah,
I check my cameras, like 2026, whatever year it is now. Like if you're listening to this, if you don't take anything else away from this, get fucking cameras on your house and your car.
Yeah, preferably not Ring, but whatever.
Yeah, don't get those. Do like I don't even remember. I've got Ubiquiti Unify cameras. I can't remember the other ones, like Eufy or something is one of them. Something is local storage, but you can still access on your phone, remote if you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that dude got shot in the back. He was literally like, they're like, hey, put it down. He's like, okay. He gets on his knees and is putting his gun down. The cop behind him is just a little bit too itchy, I think, and saw the gun and panic. He shot him in the back. And I'm like,
it happened pretty quick, but they didn't give him a chance to drop it because, dude, that guy was a right-wing Republican type dude. He would have for sure dropped his gun. I mean, according to the sister.
Yeah, he was very pro-cop. Like all the stuff I read about him, it's like, he's got the thin blue line flag and stuff. Like,
yeah. Well,
so, but on the bright side, I guess, silver lining, I guess you could say, is like, all right, well, I'm not answering. That's why I'm like, I got cameras. I'm not answering doors.
Sure.
Like as a millennial, I don't even like answering doors anyway. But like,
can I send a meme to him through my camera? Then,
right, well,
he's not getting anything.
Like with modern technology, there's no reason to answer your door for somebody you don't know ever.
Sure.
In my view, like boomers do all the time. They just open up doors. It's like, dude, you don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Did you invite somebody over? Did you order pizza? Are you expecting mail delivery? And even if it's mail, it's like, leave it. I'll get it.
Leave it.
I'll get it later.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. We're coming up at the end of time here. Time always flies by. I love these conversations. Next time you come on, dude, I want to deep dive your pathway into Catholicism. I think that's super interesting to me, having been there and where I'm at now. But from your opinion, just from the political side of it, like a lot of people ask me, like, what can I do? Like, what can I do to be active to try to like make a difference? Would you advocate like local politics or
nah?
Nah. That's kind of what I say, but I want to know what you say.
Well, because I've done stuff like that, and it's the same. It's the same thing, just at the local level. It's backstabbing, conniving, arguing over BS. I don't think it's completely. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't say don't do it. Like I wouldn't like actively try to prevent somebody, but I would say
there's better uses of your time.
100%. Obviously, I'm gonna say faith. Find your faith. Obviously, is biased, but I mean, go to church, become part of that community. But if you're not going to do that, dude, find, I don't know, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, find something, or make your own thing. Start helping out the older neighbors. Be a man. Get out there and pick up trash. And I know this sounds like hunky-dory hippie bullshit, but I mean, we literally have to start with our neighborhoods and our towns, our little blocks, to be able to make it.
Was Jordan Peterson clean your own room?
Yeah. And that's, and this is just from, and I remember, so Jordan Peterson fascinated me like 2016 because he started articulating things that I had learned through experience, like on the political realm a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the clean your room thing was like, I didn't take that to heart because in my mind, I'm like, well, I am cleaning up my room. I'm like, I'm involved in politics or whatever, but it doesn't, it's a waste of time. I mean, honestly, if you really want to make a difference, learn how to shoot, go to the gym, eat some meat, get bulk, get your smoking, fucking be a man, and take responsibility for your own bullshit too. Like if you're fucking up and you're shirking responsibilities on whatever level, like, all right, I need to like me. I've had this desk job for so long. I've eaten myself into being fat. So that's one thing, but like, say what you mean and mean what you say type of stuff. Like we really need to get back to this basic, like what it means to be a man thing. And
sure,
if at minimum do that, if you can't go out and pick up trash on the highway and do that kind of shit and like volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club stuff, start with yourself and like, just be a better person, dude. Like seriously, like it's crazy how much of a different, like that shit's kryptonite to these progressive, even the libertarian side. Like they screech at the sound of like,
oh yeah,
anything masculine anymore.
Sure. If you're pissing those people off, you're doing something right. Yeah,
100%.
All right, dude, that's a great fucking way to end it. All right, man. We'll definitely fucking want to have you back on. We'll have a longer conversation about maybe theology or just basic foundational principles, which I think most people do not have. But
yeah.
All right, dude. That was episode 62. Mac. All right, dude.
Peace.
Peace.